Tim Duncan is one of the greatest defensive players of all time, and is arguably the greatest defender in modern history to never win the Defensive Player of the Year award. To put his dominant and consistent defense in perspective, consider this. Dikembe Mutombo and David Robinson are two of the greatest rim protectors that the game has ever seen, and the two of these defensive anchors have combined for a total of 14 All-Defense Team selections. Tim Duncan, by himself, has more All-Defense Team selections than both of these greats combined. Because of this defensive longevity, Duncan was the second youngest player to ever earn an All-Defense Team selection, which he did at the age of 21. And he was also the oldest player to ever earn an All-Defense Team selection, which he did at the age of 38. Whether you're young or old, defense and security is extremely important, which is why today's video is sponsored by NordVPN. A VPN encrypts the connection between your computer and the internet, which protects your data from hackers as well as governments who are becoming more assertive in taking your private information, and from websites that log your search history to target you with specific ads. In a world where absolutely anything online can be used against you, I prefer my private information to remain my private information, which is why I use NordVPN. Another benefit of a VPN is that it allows you to act as if you're in another country, which in some cases allows you to access certain kinds of content that wouldn't be available to you otherwise, like Netflix content specifically for the United States, or an anime that's only available in Japan, or even basketball games that are blocked due to network and location restrictions. I can recall several Laker games that I would have missed without this benefit. Not only is NordVPN affordable, but it's also incredibly fast, unlike many of its competitors, which allows your streams to sustain a high level of quality as you enjoy your content. They also have apps for Windows, PCs, Apple computers, iPhones, and Android phones. And you can use NordVPN on up to 6 devices, which personally covers my whole house. To get their Black Friday deal, go to nordvpn.com/JohnnyArnett and get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month free with a huge discount. Again, that's nordvpn.com/JohnnyArnett and take advantage of their Black Friday deal while you still can. Larry Bird has one of the greatest performances of all time that people don't talk about quite enough. Officially, only 4 players in NBA history have ever achieved the incredible quadruple-double, and Larry Legend was very close to joining this elite few. It was on February 18, 1985 against the Utah Jazz in Utah. According to Larry himself, this may have been the greatest game of his career, as he poured in 30 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, 9 steals, and 2 blocks on 59.1% shooting. Here's the craziest part about this night though. The Celtics were destroying the Jazz in just about every aspect, and at the end of the third quarter, they were leading by 22 points. Due to this, Bird didn't even play in the fourth quarter. That's right, he almost put up an insane quadruple-double in only 3 quarters. Casey Jones was the Celtics head coach, and when he realized early in the fourth quarter that Larry was only 1 steal shy of the historic quadruple-double, he asked him if he would like to go back into the game. But Bird refused and said, "I already did enough damage." There have been many record-setting scoring performances throughout the years, like Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points in 1962, Kobe Bryant's 81 points in 2006, and Michael Jordan's 63 in Boston Garden in 1986. But every single one of these remarkable scoring displays was achieved by an NBA All-Star. The highest scoring performance by a player who never made a single All-Star team came from a man that many of you have probably never heard of. His name is Purvis Short, and he had one of the best perimeter jump shots in the entire league, which was extremely memorable for its high-arcing trajectory. The record-setting night came on November 17, 1984, when he dropped a whopping 59 points. It was also one of the most efficient scoring explosions of all time, as he was 20 of 28 from the field, 4 of 6 from three-point range, and 15 of 16 from the free throw line. That adds up to a true shooting percentage of 84.2%, which only a couple of players have ever eclipsed while scoring over 50 points. Imagine having this kind of performance, then average 28 points per game over the course of the season, and you're still not selected to the NBA All-Star team. Despite the amazing scoring machine that guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and James Harden were, they never once scored at least 60 points in back-to-back NBA games. In fact, no one has, with the exception of one incredible player, Wilt Chamberlain. Not only did Wilt have back-to-back 60-point games, but in 1962, he actually did it in 4 straight, with the 4th game being his legendary 100-point performance. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to keep the streak alive in the 5th game when he finished with just 58 points. With this next fact, I'm actually not done talking about that stretch of 60-point games from Wilt Chamberlain. In the first game of that 60-point streak, Wilt dropped 67 points and 21 rebounds on 65.8% shooting. As unbelievable as this performance was from Wilt, it probably wasn't the most significant thing that happened in that game from a historical standpoint, because on the other side of the court was the Hall of Fame shooting guard Richie Guerin, who was right in the middle of the prime of his career. On this night, Richie was doing just about everything right, as he dropped 50 points, 13 assists, and 11 rebounds on 60.7% shooting. Only 6 players in NBA history have ever achieved a 50-point triple-double, and this one from Richie Guerin was only the second to ever take place. He achieved the 50-point triple-double even before Wilt Chamberlain had, and the Knicks also won the game 149-135. Richie enjoyed the high while he could, because Wilt definitely got his revenge just a few nights later. Remember Kobe's legendary Achilles game, where he played every minute he could, fought through several injuries, and balled his brains out as he put up a stat line of 34 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists as he walked off the court after hitting his iconic free throws? Well, some of you might not know that despite all of that, Kobe wasn't the best performer that night, as this new kid was having one of the best nights of his career. Steph dropped 47 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals on 54.8% shooting. He was also 9 of 15 from 3-point range. It would take something like a torn Achilles from Kobe to make such an impressive game from Steph become overlooked as time has gone on. Not only that, but Steph nearly sealed the game with the most amazing game-winning 3-point shot that the league has ever seen. It's interesting that as the decline of one legend starts, the ascension of another begins, and this theme was later repeated between these two when Kobe retired with his 60-point farewell game on the same night that Steph eclipsed 400 3-pointers and completed the 73-9 record season. When the voters decide the MVP winner, they typically vote for multiple players and rank those players on their own list. So the winner doesn't necessarily have to have the most first place votes, but just the highest total of points in order to win the award. With that being said, only one player in NBA history has won the league MVP while not finishing with the most first place votes. Any guesses on who that MVP was? It was the all-time great point guard, Magic Johnson, in the 89-90 season. The person who finished with more first place votes was Charles Barkley, by a pretty substantial margin. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the worst team in NBA history. No, seriously, objectively, they are the worst. Of all the teams in NBA history, they're the only franchise to have a lifetime win-loss ratio lower than 41%, as they currently sit at 39.4%. To put in perspective just how bad that franchise is relatively, consider this. The San Antonio Spurs are coming off of great success in the previous 2 decades, so they're probably due for some kind of slump. Well, the San Antonio Spurs could go 0-82 for the next 24 seasons straight, and they would still have a greater win-to-loss percentage than the Minnesota Timberwolves. All you Minnesota fans, you have my sympathy. Please don't unsubscribe. When it comes to making smart decisions and protecting the basketball, the NBA has been steadily improving throughout the years. This has been a natural progression throughout the decades, but this fact is especially true in recent history, as we've been witnessing the cleanest form of basketball that the league has ever seen. Of all seasons of NBA history, the last 6 seasons hold all of the top 6 spots for the best turnover percentage. Turnover percentage is a stat that averages the amount of turnovers per 100 possessions. My question to you guys is, why do you think this is the case? Have players just grown smarter throughout the years? Or does it maybe have something to do with a lack of physical defense? Let me know what you think in the comments below. There's stat padding, and then there's what Ricky Davis tried to do in 2003. At this point in his career, Ricky Davis was a 23-year-old 6'6" shooting guard. He was a decent scorer, averaging about 20 points per game, albeit on a terrible Cavaliers team that finished the season with a terrible 17-65 record. On this night in Cleveland, the Cavs would get a rare win over Utah, which was putting an end to their 7-game losing streak. With less than 10 seconds to go in a blowout game, all Ricky had to do was catch the inbound pass and dribble out the clock. The thing is, at this moment, Ricky had a stat line of 28 points, 12 assists, and 9 rebounds, making him only one board short of a triple-double, and Ricky was well aware of this fact. So he decides to take matters into his own hands, misses a shot on his opponent's basket on purpose in an attempt to get a free rebound. Well, the statisticians weren't buying it, so he finished the game one rebound short of a triple-double regardless of his desperate move. Blowouts have been happening for as long as the NBA has been in existence, but with that being said, not all blowouts are created equal. Case in point, on December 17, 1991, when the 13-8 Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the 11-12 Miami Heat with a final score of 148-80. This 68-point victory is officially the largest margin of victory in NBA history. Miami threw in the towel so early that not a single one of their starters played more than 23 minutes. That's literally less than half the game. At one point, the Cavs were ahead by a whopping 73 points, and the second half was the worst of it, as they outscored Miami 75-27 in the final 24 minutes. The craziest part is that you wouldn't think this Miami team would be beaten this badly. Sure, they certainly weren't a great team, but they did make the playoffs this season as an 8th seed, and were led by solid players like Glenn Rice and Steve Smith. But as the saying goes, that's why they play the game. There have been some close Defensive Player of the Year races, but 3 of them specifically were especially nail-biters. The race in 1989 and 1994 were only separated by just one single vote. In 1989, Mark Eaton beat out Hakeem Olajuwon, and if just one voter felt differently, Hakeem would have won his 3rd Defensive Player of the Year award. In 1994, it was now Hakeem who got the award by just one vote over his rival David Robinson, which would have been a 2nd Defensive Player of the Year award for the Admiral. The 3rd close race was a very unique situation. Only one player in NBA history has won the Defensive Player of the Year award without getting the most first-place votes. Any guesses on who that player was? It was Kawhi Leonard in the 14-15 season, and the player who had more first-place votes was Draymond Green, which was one of the more hotly debated awards of basketball history. Which one of these facts was the most interesting? And have you got any new facts to share with the rest of us? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.